We are going to focus on top knots. Now, this is a pin brush, but normally I wouldn't use that. Normally I would use this on her face. This is a boar bristle brush. And I just washed her and blow dried her so her hair is fresh and clean. And it is going to be very easy to do top knots. Now, here's the deal, you guys. Top knots are beautiful, but they're also functional, right? And so when the puppy is little, you want to start putting their hair up into a band to get them used to it. And even at Maybelline's age, this is Maybelline and she's 9, they will still mess with their top knot. It is unavoidable, and it is something that is just like a little girl messing with her ponytails, okay? They're just going to mess with it. That's just the way it is. You just have to keep putting it back up, back up, back up, okay? So what you want to do is you want to freshly groom your dog, and I'm going to give you guys some tips that will help you to not necessarily have them scratching at it as much. So if the top knot is too tight, or if you get some of the ear hair in there, it won't be comfortable for them, and they'll scratch at it a lot more, okay? So what we're going to do is, well, first of all, this is a top knot pillow. It's a satin pillow. We're going to put this on Maybelline because then she knows, oh, okay, it's time to do my top knots. So if you can get them used to this at a very young age, that is helpful for them to rest their little head and for them to know it's time to pay attention now, and it's time for them to get their top knot done. Now, they keep shaking the hair. This is the way the hair ends up if you don't have it up in a top knot, right? So it's about functionality, not just about making them look beautiful, okay? Now, what you guys need to understand, there's different kinds of top knots, okay? There's one for puppies, and that's a single top knot, and that's the one I'm going to do first. But first, what I want to teach you guys is there's different kinds of bands, okay? And I'm going to show you guys the different types of bands. Now, if you look at my hand right here, you'll see that there's different thicknesses and different colors of bands, okay? And so, you know, these are latex bands. These clear ones are non-latex bands. Now, there's advantages to each. I always get questions about which one caused the least breakage. Well, it really depends how often you are grooming them. It depends on how often you are brushing their top knot out. It also depends on how much they're scratching at the top knot and things like that. So it really, really depends on a lot of different things. I like the colored ones, the latex bands, because it adds a little bit of oomph. I don't always have a bow in their hair, so I like a little bit of color in their hair, I guess you could say. But if you have a bow in their hair, I like to use a clear band. The non-latex is very, very, very stretchy, and they don't dry out, okay? It seems to me the latex bands dry out and get very brittle. Now, I did not make this particular bow. This was given to me, but this is what latex bands look like. They're very yellow, and this is what happens. This is not my bow, okay? They dry out and get very brittle, and they break, see? So that's why I don't put, when I make my doggy bows, I don't use the latex, I use the non-latex, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get the dog totally relaxed, and, you know, we're going to make sure that she's fully relaxed. And if you are doing a top knot, a puppy top knot, I'm gonna show you how you do that, okay? But first I want to answer a question that somebody wrote to me, and it was about the knotless hair wrap. How many of you guys have heard of the knotless hair wrap? Comment below. Okay, knotless hair wrap came out many years ago. The lady that created it had this concept that it would stop their hair from getting damaged, okay? And I'm going to show you, this is knotless hair wrap, okay? It's stretchy. It's about, you know, it's got some give to it, but not a lot. And I have found it very difficult to work with. Some people really, really like it. If you have seen the bandages, the Ace bandage type of medical tape that sticks to itself, that's the same concept, but this is essentially a piece of rubber. So what you do is, I don't find it easy to work with, and I'm going to show you why. So you cut a small piece off, and then you have to try to hold the hair in place while you're wrapping it around, which I think is very difficult. So let's try to do that knotless hair wrap on Maybelline here, okay? So I'm going to take a tiny bit of hair, and I'm going to put this knotless hair wrap. Now, she does sell a type of holder, I guess you could say. It's essentially like a disc plate that has a hole in the center, and you put it on the top knot to hold it, but I don't have one of those. So essentially this is what you do. You wrap this around, and it sticks to itself, which I find it very difficult to use because you're essentially trying to stick it to itself and bring it around, okay? And then it sticks to itself, okay? And that's kind of how it is, right? I'll tell you what I don't like about it. What I don't like about it is, number one, it's kind of cumbersome to work with. Number two, if it gets dirty, so let's say you put some powder on the face, like Always Bright Eyes. Now you've got your, powder, it gets dirty, and then it doesn't stick to itself, okay? And then the next thing, it's not very tight, okay? And you can keep working with it, but the more you work with it, the more it doesn't stick to itself. See, because your hand has residue on it, and then it doesn't stick to itself, okay? The other thing is I think it's too thick. So, it's a great concept. If you're worried about damage to the hair, I really think it does less damage, but I think it's also easier for them to get out because it's not as tight, okay? So it's gonna be very easy for the dog to get it out. So essentially, I'm not a big fan of it, but somebody asked me about it, so I thought I would put it in this live. It's comes in different colors, and I don't like how thick it is. So you see how it stands up pretty high because it's thick, and they have to make it thick enough so that, obviously you can work with it and it's going to stick to itself. So that is the knotless hair wrap, okay? So that's one of the options if your dog has a lot of breakage. If you're worried about breaking, the hair, then that's something you could use, okay? The next option I'm going to show you is the latex bands, okay? Latex, you can get them in all different colors and thicknesses, and they're very forgiving. They're very, very good, okay? Now, this is just a typical 5/8 inch or 1/4 inch, latex band, okay? Works great. It's comes in different thicknesses. Like I said, I wanted to show you guys, if you have a dog that messes with their top knots a lot, there's real lightweight ones. Do you see how thin this is? This is a very, very thin latex band, okay? And the problem is when you use this, it's going to fall forward. It's going to be now I have seen this used for show dogs, so that there's very little damage done to the hair. If you're having a problem with damage, you want to use something real lightweight like this. If they have really thick hair, this is not going to work very well because what happens is it's really lightweight for obvious reasons. It's going to not be as sturdy. Now you could use this to do many of them to give it more stability, right? You can wrap it many, many times. It's very, very lightweight. So if you have a dog that is wearing their top knot to the side like this, then you could use something lightweight like that. So make sure when you're buying your latex bands, you check the thickness, and decide what your motives are. See, it already broke. They're very lightweight, okay? And then the other option is the non-latex, which are the clear ones. And these are the ones I sell at Maltese Groom at Home. So used to saying Maltese Groom. At Groom at Home. It's very, very, I like them because they're durable and they stay in place. Okay, so now I'm going to do a single top knot on Maybelline here. Okay, let me get my comb. So what do you guys need to do a top knot? I'm going to show you. Okay. I'm going to show you my tools. Okay. So the first thing you want to do is you want to divide the hair, okay? The dividing of the hair is the key, you guys. So, as you can see, I've got her in an Asian fusion cut, okay? So I'm going to go straight back from the side here, and I'm going to use this hair. I'm not going to get her ear hair in here, okay? This is the top of her ear. You don't want that hair to be in there, otherwise they're going to go nuts. Very uncomfortable, okay? So I'm going to go straight back from the outer part of her eyes. Now I'm not going to put all this in to the front part, and I'm going to tell you why. If you have the top knot too thick, it's going to fall forward like this. It's going to fall forward in their face, okay? So I like to do a little bit of a Shih Tzu people kind of do it. Jazzy, stop. Jazzy wants to get out and play. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to split this into two parts. Now, if you are a person that just wants to wear a single top knot with bows, you can leave this part down like so and just put the bow in here, okay? That would work fine, but you're going to have a lot of hair back here falling forward in their face, so it doesn't give a very clean appearance, but some people like that look, okay? So that's option number one, is to just have a single top knot. You just want the hair to be in a half moon shape. Okay, you're not going to take all the hair from between the ears. Like so, okay? Now, what I have found is that if you wanted to have a really full top knot, you could back comb this. I might have to go get Jazzy if she keeps barking. So if you were doing a show puppy, like 6 months, 9 months, this is how you would do the show puppy. Yes, I'll show how to, hi Leanne, I'll just show how to do pigtails, okay? So this is how you would do, you would back comb this. You'd put the band in. Can you take, sorry, I'm live here. Can you take Jazzy upstairs, please? Thanks. Okay, so if you were doing a show puppy top knot, you would take a piece of the hair from the center and push this down. Then you would take some gel or hairspray and make sure you get all the wispies up, okay? Like so. And then you would put your puppy bow in, okay? Now, if you wanted to do, I'm going to show you guys now how I do a maintenance top knot for Maybelline, okay? Lift the band up, snip. Do not try to pull it out, you guys, okay? So now I'm going to show you how I put her maintenance top knot in. This is, you can put a bow in, but this is usually, I don't have a bow in, I just have bands. So you take the same amount of hair, you put one band here. So it's just a very small amount, okay? I don't wrap it a lot of times. See, it's loose, right? It's not pulling on her eyes and it's not skin tight, okay? And then what you want to do is you want to grab some hair from behind that Now again, I'm making sure I don't grab any hair from the tops of her ears because they hate that. I'm going to leave that be, okay? We're essentially just going straight back. Okay. Now at this point, it's kind of sticking up. If you want to bring it so it lays down, just pull some of the hair in the back to get it to lay down. Now this is how I really like her hair. It's functional, it's beautiful, you can use any color bands. If you wanted to put a bow in it, you can. You could certainly put the bow in when you put the first band on, and then you can still add that band behind. If you use white or clear non-latex bands, then you could put the bow in and it looks super cute, right? So that's option number 2, okay? Now I'm gonna show you guys how you do a show top knot. And what you're gonna need for that is you're gonna need clear bands, and these are essentially perm end wraps that you buy at Sally's. And this is how you make the 2 horns on the top of the head. Now, granted, I haven't done 2 top knots, show top knots in a very long time, so be patient with me. We'll do the pigtails first, and then I'll show how that feeds into the show top knots, okay? So again, I'm gonna comb all this hair back, and I'm gonna do pigtails now, okay? So for pigtails, if I were you, I would use either 1/4 inch or 3/16 size bands, okay? And get your bands ready. If you have a dog that's moving around a lot, I would highly recommend either not doing top knots, or you can possibly use a grooming harness, like she has her harness on here, and that might help. But if they're essentially just wiggling around and it's miserable for the dog, I wouldn't even do a top knot. I would just cut the top of their head short. It's something they have to get used to. Okay, so we're gonna gather up we're gonna go straight back from the center of the head, okay? And we're gonna make kind of a triangle, you guys. We're gonna try our best to get the amount of hair equal. That's the key. Okay. Now at this point, if you want to use some texturizing spray, yes, that's what they do with show dogs. They use hair spray, texturizing spray. You see how that makes kind of a triangle? So straight up from the eye, up in front of the ear, down the center, okay? And then you would be using clear bands, so I guess I better use a clear one. So you don't want to use colored bands if you're doing a show top knot, but let's say we're doing pigtails, okay? There's the first pigtail. Then I'm gonna watch very carefully to make sure that I do this other side equal, because you want them to look the same, balanced. It's tricky. I mean, it's very, very tricky to get it 100% the same, but we're gonna try, okay? She's a pet. Show handlers and breeders, they work very hard to make sure the top knots are perfect, but my goal today is to just teach you guys how to do it. Okay, so we've got 2 pigtails now. You can see this one's a little bit smaller. It's tricky to get them the same, honestly. Okay, so this is how you would do pigtails. And if you are doing pigtails, then you could use, these are show bows. These are 3/8 inch tiny, 1/2 inch. You could do those like that. Or you could use, Maybelline's a big girl, so she's about 10 pounds. You could use these tiny ones for probably dogs up to like 7 pounds. Then you might want to use 1/2 inch bows to do doubles, okay? And I see I dropped her other one, so just give me a sec. So these are show bows that I made. So essentially when you're putting these in, you guys, you can just put them in like that. And I think that's super cute. You don't need to use the paper wraps for pets, you guys. That's for show dogs, okay? What do you guys think? Is that cute? So those are pigtails, okay? And now I'm gonna show you what you do. Let's say you have a show dog and they're going in the ring and you need to do their top knots. The first step is to put them just like I have here. And you might have to redo it several times so that they're balanced because each side should be the same. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take a small piece from one of the sides, it doesn't matter which one, and you're gonna combine it with the other side. Now, why do you guys think that we would do this? Does anybody want to take a guess? Well, I'll tell you why. Because if you don't, the top nuts end up spreading apart and they look really goofy, okay? Really goofy. And we don't want that. We want the top knots to stay very, very close together, like so. Now, that you shouldn't be able to see. I should have taken a lot less hair. But you get the idea, okay? I haven't done double top knots in a very long time. So then what you do, and I know you guys, the majority of you don't have show dogs, but I'm going to show this anyway, is you take a perm wrapper, like so, and you fold it, okay? We did the first step. We've got the bands in, okay? Then what you're going to do is you're going to wrap this around the top knot, like so. And you're going to wrap it around. And you don't want the part that's sticking out to be in the front, you guys. You want this to be in the back. So you wrap this around. You fold this over. I'm just going to use this comb, like so. And then you wrap your teeny tiny, this is not the right size, you wrap your teeny tiny 3/16 inch bands around. Okay, we're going to do the same process for the other side. Fold this in half. Again, we're going to make a nice little rectangle. Again, making sure that this is not in the front, so you might have to shift it. We're going to pretend this is a rat tail comb. We're going to fold that over. And we're going to wrap this around. If you have the right size bands, it's easy. You just go like that, okay? Then you leave it like that. You would use hair gel or hairspray to make sure all this hair is perfect. And they usually fluff it out, so they pull the hair here so that it looks nice, and then they smooth it out and it ends up looking perfect, right? If it's pushing to the front like this, you need to readjust the way that the bands are on, because the hair should not be kicking forward like that. Okay, then what we're gonna do is we're just gonna, right before you go in the show ring, you're just gonna put these on. Okay, you're not gonna wrap them multiple times, you're just gonna put them on like that. Okay? Hopefully you guys are finding this useful. And they always shake their head, and if you don't have bands that are small enough, or you don't, like if you have one that scratches a lot, you could go this way, go forward, and then wrap it twice instead of just setting it on, because you don't want to get in the ring and have them throw the freaking bow across the room and they shake their head, okay? So that's it. So that's how you would do a show top knot, double top knot, okay? Does that make sense to you guys? How does she look? She's so pretty. Thanks, Trisha. So obviously when you're showing, you get a lot of practice with the top knots, you guys. They look way better than this. Like it's been so many years since I've done them. And you would back comb the hair at the base, and you would really, really, really make it full. Kind of like when women used to back comb their hair to make the beehive hair look. Well, that's what you do with the top knots. You make it super full, and you'll see them. They get the top knot about this far up off the top of the dog's head, okay? But I wanted to show you guys the steps, okay? You know, the double top knots are gorgeous, okay? To me, a dog moving in the ring that's presented beautifully and the grooming is superb. It is so breathtaking, okay? And I just wanted to show you guys, you know, different ways that you can do it. Now, I think today what I'm going to do with her is I'm going to put her in pigtails, okay? So I'm going to take these papers out. The papers are nice because, you know, they give it a nice clean appearance. It's called a horn. They make the horn with the, and it really, really, really looks fantastic. This little trick where you're binding them together, like, it helps the hair to not go on the sides of the head and the top knots end up out here. This will keep them nice and tight and close together, okay? So I'm just going to put some little pigtails in her hair for today. So I'm just going to leave these in. Now, if you had a show dog, you would not leave the top knot in. You take everything out and put them in a maintenance top knot between shows. You don't leave bows in their hair all the time, okay? Because the more they mess with the hair, the more breakage there is, and the more breakage you have, which you can see, Maybelline's my pet, so she has a lot of breakage going on, okay? So I'm just going to leave these little top knots, this little pigtails in. So what do you guys think? You like the pigtails? Who likes the pigtails? Okay. I think I'm going to trim the corners of her eyes now since I've got her here. So real quick, I'll show you guys what I used. So the tools that you will need to do a top knot is you'll need a boar bristle brush. You'll need latex or non-latex bands. This is a Greyhound comb that I'm using. Anti-static Greyhound comb. And you can use, this is a latex band. This is a non-latex band. Okay. And if you want to do show top knots, these, you can buy these at Sally's. They're just perm papers. And what else? You guys can, if you want, you can put bows. Just if you have your hair cut short on the dog, you can just put bows. Take a small section of hair, and you can use forceps clamps and slide the bow on the top of their ears. That looks super cute too. You can see it's the same amount. It's halfway back on the head. Okay. Here's her ears, so it's about the same. Okay. It's about the same amount. I'm just using the hair differently if I'm doing single or double. Now, if I wanted to do a single top knot, it would be like this. And that's how I usually keep her, is I put her in a single top knot and then I second band this part. Now, if you have a top knot that keeps falling forward, the key is to take a small section of hair right here in the middle and just put that in there, and then it won't fall forward, if that makes sense. And you just, if you have a dog that keeps pulling the top knot out, I can't emphasize it enough. At first, when they're a little tiny puppy, you just use really lightweight bands like these, okay? Very lightweight, and you start just putting a small little section right here in the front. So when the hair is they're about 12, 15 weeks old, you just start putting a small little section up to get them used to the feeling, okay? Then once they get used to that, you can start adding more and more hair. And by the time they get to be, you know, this would be equal to a dog that's probably 15 months old. Maybelline's hair right now on the top of her head. Then you can do single top knots and pigtails and things like that. She'll mess with it. She'll completely pull these out. She'll scratch at them, and that's why hers is all broken off right here, because she messes with it and scratches it and so on and so forth. And I just use my slicker brush, and I come in and I just, okay, yeah. So now I'm going to have to band her hair back a little bit because she keeps messing with it. So I'm going to add a small section right here so that it doesn't keep falling forward in her face. Okay? So I'm going to use a non-latex band. Like so. And now the hair will stay back, okay? Looks kind of goofy, but it's practical, right? So if you want bows in their hair and their hair keeps falling forward, that's what you can do, okay?